In the labor section, it is important to separate your field employees from your overhead employees. Field employees is just another name for employees that work on your crews at your projects. The reason we want to separate them is because we're going to average out the amount you pay per hour for all of your field employees, and that average hourly rate, along with the number of crew employees you have, will be used in the calculator later on when we get to the Profit Genie. Whereas your overhead employees will be included with the rest of your overhead expenses. Remember at the beginning, we asked how many full-time and part-time employees you have? We use that number to auto-populate how many spaces you have here in this section. If you miscalculated at the beginning, it's not a big deal. You can always click the Add Employee button here, and you can add as many employees as you need, or if you overestimated, you can delete them by clicking the Delete button here. If you are an owner-operator and work out in the field as one of the crew, you need to add yourself in this field employees section. Not doing this will artificially increase your labor rate. Now, before we start adding employees, the first and most important thing you need to fill out is your employer's tax information. Go ahead and click on the Employer Tax button. These taxes are important because it's the amount of money you pay out of pocket to the state and the federal government on top of what you pay your employees per hour. If you forget to complete this section or put in the wrong information, your average employee hourly rate will be off, which will make your bids inaccurate. So be sure to get this information correct. We highly suggest you go through these numbers with your bookkeeper, accountant, or whoever does your payroll that has a good understanding of the federal and state taxes. It's not a good idea to take a shortcut here either. We had a client who thought he knew the overall percentage he paid in federal and state taxes. He plugged that number into one of the spaces and ended up being wrong. As a result, he wasn't charging enough money for his employees. Even if he was right, it might have saved him time at the beginning, but in the long run, once you get these numbers filled out, it's easier to make changes in each individual field than an overall percentage. So please take the time to fill this out correctly. Now, let's get started. You will see that there is a federal and state tax dropdown. Open up the federal. And again, we highly recommend filling this out with your accountant or whoever takes care of your payroll taxes. Once you have finished with the federal taxes, close it and open up the state dropdown. As I said earlier, each state is a little bit different and each company will have different numbers here. So be sure to consult with your tax person. After you've completed the taxes for your state and you know that it's accurate, we can start adding your employees. Adding employees is really simple. Just click on the Edit button on the first employee. Fill in their name. You can then hit the Tab button to advance or click on the wage and fill in that space. Then you can click on the next employee and continue until all of your field employees have been completed. Once you've filled out the information for your last employee, be sure to click Save. And that's it. The software will calculate your taxes, overtime, and the average hourly rate will be automatically added to the proposal section. Now, let's add all of your overhead employees, which are any employees that work in your company who are not working in the field on your projects. This consists of project managers that oversee multiple crews, office staff, designers, salespeople, and the owner's salary. Now, if you're an owner-operator and you added yourself in the field labor, you should also add yourself here as a salary employee. This will pay you for the time you spend meeting with clients, creating bids, scheduling bids, and all the other stuff owners do in their company. Whether you pay yourself this money or invest it back into your business is totally up to you, but you need to get paid for your time. The overhead employees section is the same process as adding field labor. The only difference is you have to decide whether they're hourly or salary. If they are salary employees, you can choose either monthly or yearly rate, and the software will do the rest for you. When you add a salary employee, please note that their pay will show up as the hourly wage it takes them to get to their salary pay. Your overhead employees will show up in the overhead expenses section, which is the next section we will fill out. Once you're done adding all of your overhead employees, click the next button and we will start adding your overhead expenses.